Live Sports. Welcome back to Fenway Park. The rains have gone away and we're ready to play baseball, so let's take a look at how Robin is going to line up our Sox for the game tonight. Adam Eaton to lead it off, then it's Tyler Saladino in the 2 spot. Red hot Melky Cabrera is hitting third with Jose Abreu behind him. Adam LaRoche, Alexei Ramirez, J.B. Shuck, Tyler Flowers, and Carlos Sanchez on a 12-game hitting streak, hitting .435 during that span. The defense and how they'll line up behind Stephen Wright. Hanley Ramirez, Jackie Bradley Jr., and Rusney Castillo in the outfield. With Pablo Sandoval, Xander Bogaerts, Brock Holt, and Mike Napoli in the infield. Blake Swihart will have the duties behind the plate. And there's a look at Stephen Wright, who's 3-4 this year. His ERA, .478 on for the 7th start. He's a knuckleballer. Probably 90% of the time he'll use that knuckleball. Seeking a little advice from Tim Wakefield, who used it very well for a long time for these Red Sox. The umpires for the game tonight. Bill Miller, the crew chief, behind the plate. Sean Barber's at first, Doug Eddings at second, and Adrian Johnson is at third. So they've thrown the ball around the infield, which means we're ready to play baseball, albeit an hour after our original starting time. And I'm ready to turn it over to my play-by-play partner, Ken Harrelson.
Hi, Steve. Thank you. And once again, good evening, everyone, and welcome to White Sox baseball right here over WGN Sports. My 50. And a knuckleballer. Those are few and far between, unfortunately. And before we show you our picks to click, you at home select yours. Adam Eaton gets set to lead it off. He is 7 for 15 in this series with a homer and 4 RBIs. He has definitely been the catalyst here in Boston. Led off game 1 with a triple. As there's a strike.
You hope to get a knuckleballer behind and then look for the fastball. So he missed with 2 knuckleballs and then threw a fastball for a strike.
And he leads this one off with a bullet into right field. Falls down. He's going to now pull up, and a good thing. Tell you, Castillo did a good job after slipping on that wet grass out there, getting up and then throwing a bullet to Brock Holt.
Adam continues to pound the baseball. This is a knuckleball, and it started to tumble. And that's a sign that the hitters are really going to have their way with him, because if it tumbles, if it rolls, you're not going to be able to fool him. It's got to flutter.
Here's Tyler Saladino hitting at .266.
First 3 games of this series, the first inning, Sox scored 4. Second game, the Sox scored 5. Third game, the Sox scored 2 and then 3 in the second inning. So early in the game, our Sox have just battered their Sox, pretty much taking them out of it without a whole lot of messing around.
None of our guys have ever seen right before, as there's a strike and the count evens of 1. Sox come in hitting at .249 as a team with a 3.80 ERA. Sox 25 and 28 on the road, 24 and 22 at home, and of the last 33 games we have won 21 of them.
We talked about it in the open, and it bears repeating. The 25 extra base hits over the last 3 games, first 3 of this series, seems like a lot, and it should, because it's never happened in any 3-game span against the Red Sox in their history. That's pretty amazing, because these Red Sox have been around a long time, and you'd think that somebody would have gotten to their pitching staff over the years, but nobody's gotten to them like our Sox have gotten to them.
Just got a piece of it. Boy, what will we do without Elias? Those guys are great. I mean, they are absolutely sensational.
They have, in fact, they have so many stats you can't possibly use them all, because I mean, they can tell you what a guy hits at night in August
On
when it's over 80 degrees on Tuesdays.
On Tuesday,
yes.
It's unbelievable. Pitch that part of the plate, so 1 out.
He went to the fastball. He got the lower part of the plate rung up by Bill Miller. And because they've never seen, right, they don't know how many he's going to throw as far as a knuckleball and how many times he'll try to sneak that fastball in.
So here's Melky. Melky in this series been in the plate 16 times, has 9 hits, and he's knocked in 3.
The last time Swihart caught right, he had 4 passed balls, and it was a little embarrassing for the young man, but he's going to be a very good catcher. It's just that you just don't get a chance to face knuckleballers or catch knuckleballers too often. That's pretty amazing. First player in White Sox history. 7 straight games with 2+ hits and an RBI. How'd you do against a knuckleball?
Well, it's according to who was throwing it. Some of them I hit well. Boy, Will Home, I was 1 for 6 years off him. Well, and the only reason I did it because Pete was playing third base, Pete Ward. And Pete didn't move real good down there, and I hit it softly, just got by him, didn't even get to the outfield grass, and I beat it out. 2 down.
What was the determining factor? And you said you hit some knuckleballers well, some not so well.
Yeah.
White was the best probably that ever lived.
Ever.
So the knuckleballers you hit well, what was it about
I
that
hit Wilbur
knuckleball you hit
well. I hit Eddie. I can't remember his last name.
Eddie Fisher?
Eddie Fisher, yeah. Eddie Fisher pretty well.
He's a good singer, too.
Yeah, he was. But I didn't mind in Boughton. I hit him real hard. So here's Abreu. Against Fisher, they tell me I was 5 for 15 with a couple of homers. But Hoyt was just incredible. When he got you 2 strikes, I mean, you gone.
Yeah.
He had one that would break from the bill of your cap to the tip of your toes. Abreu, 6 for 12 in the series with a homer and 5 RBIs. That ball hit high and deep. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Get on back there. He looks up. You can put it on the board. Yes. 2-run bomb by Abreu, and the Sox lead it 2-0.
That's home run 17. He's now driven in 59, and it wouldn't be right in the 4th of a 4-game series to end this first inning without scoring at least 2. So Jose goes the opposite way, the second home run that he's taken the opposite way here. And this is a knuckleball that didn't flutter. It did kind of roll. That's like a hanging curveball and goes out of the ballpark.
And he didn't even come close to getting all of that one.
No.
So here's Adam. 213, 9 homers, 35. And of course, with that home run by Abreu, the Alex Nelly's family will hook up with Christine O'Reilly and White Sox Charities in loving memory of Ursula. Christine, who just does a fabulous job for White Sox Charities. She is our Tsarina, our queen of the White Sox. 1-2. That ball hit hard. That's a hang Wolfham. He was playing very deep, so I don't care. That's a good sign. He squared it up. Meanwhile, a home run by Abreu after a half inning of play. It's our guys, too, and their guys coming to bat.
Hanley Ramirez, David Ortiz, who's been hot since the All-Star break, and it's Mike Napoli, Rusney Castillo, Pablo Sandoval, Blake Swihart, and Jackie Bradley Jr. The defense and how they'll line up behind Chris Sale left to right, Melky Cabrera, Adam Eaton, and J.B. Shuck in right field tonight, with Tyler Saladino, Alexei Ramirez, Carlos Sanchez, and Jose Abreu in the infield. Tyler Flowers behind the plate, and Chris Sale on the hill. Chris looking for win number 10. His ERA 2.85. This is his 20th start of the year. Opponents hitting a paltry 2.19.
Brock Holt will lead things off. Brock was 2 for 4 last night. He has faced Chris 4 times, and he drew the collar. It's a little bit low. Can't get that one. That one at 94. Red Sox come in hitting at 255 as a club with a 4.52 ERA.
Last 8 left-handers the Red Sox faced, they're 1-7.
He gone.
If Bill keeps calling him there, it's a for sure 1-8 for the Red Sox. This breaking ball hung inside. It was not a strike, but I have a feeling with some rain and getaway day, might be a big play tonight.
Well, with Bill Miller, it'll be the same for both sides.
No doubt about that. He's a very good umpire.
Watch out. Bogarts, a bullet off Chris Sale.
And Robin is coming out there along with Hermie. Find out if Chris is okay.
I think he's hurting pretty good.
He got hit square. I'm going to slow it down for you. Bogarts goes right back up the middle. This looked like it got him right around the knee.
One thing about Chris Sale, he is just about as tough as anybody.
Well, you saw him absorb that line drive with no facial expression whatsoever.
He is a tough man. I mean, you might tie him, but you're not going to beat him. Said he's all right.
And as he says he's okay, everyone around Chicago, and especially the White Sox, breathes a collective sigh of relief.
That'll bring up Hanley Ramirez. Hitting 264, 19 homers, 48 driven in. It's 2 for 11 in the series.
No surprise that Bogarts hit Chris Sale pretty well. Since Memorial Day, hitting .415 against the left-handers, and that's tops in the major leagues.
Well, Bogart is a terrific-looking 22-year-old shortstop.
Last year he had his growing pains, as any youngster will. A lot of pitchers took advantage of him. They were moving him from third base. Occasionally they'd get him at shortstop, but he is a lifetime shortstop. Now that they've anchored him there, he feels a whole lot more comfortable.
Fouls that back. So 1-2 the count. He gone. Gas. 98 miles an hour.
Chris changed the arm angle here and just fires it right by him on the inside part of the plate. Not a whole lot of hitters in this or any other league are going to be able to get around on that one just inside off the plate.
So here's Ortiz at 240, 20 homers, 56 knocked in. He's 2 for 12 in the series with a homer. Homer coming in game 1. Slider. Takes the strike. That one at 96. Just tuning in. We took the opener here. 10-8. Good job by the bullpen. On game 2, 9-4. Good job by, outstanding job by Samardzija. And then last night, 9-2 behind Quintana. All he does is just keep going out there and giving you a quality day's work.
Each and every day.
I'm telling you, he's amazing. Talking with a friend of mine down in Orlando who's become a big White Sox fan, and he said, boy, Quintana just absolutely, there he goes. He steals it.
He gets a very good jump, and it's a breaking ball. So he picked the right type of pitch and got a jump on first move by Chris Sale, guessing that he was going to the plate, worried about Big Papi, and he's in.
Well, that's one reason infielders have a better chance of stealing bases than other position players, because of the fact they try to pick the right pitch and they're pretty familiar with it. Ball gets away.
This one hits in front of the plate. Tough ball to handle for Tyler Flowers. He's able to deflect it, but cannot keep it in front of him. And Bogaerts winds up at third.
And that's the fourth wild pitch. Got into the corner. And that 98-mile-an-hour fastball. So it's a 2-1 ball game.
'57 runs driven in by the big man, and he takes a fastball inside as if after a couple of sliders he's almost guessing inside, because he opens up probably with no coverage on the outside part of the plate. But at 39 years old, he's still quick enough to get around on anybody's fastball, including Chris Sale.
Yeah, he was cheating on that one, which you got to be when you're facing a guy like Chris Sale. You can't cover the whole plate on him.
Just have to guess you're going to get that fastball after a couple of sliders.
And he can, Ortiz can still hit with short arms. If he tries to extend on that pitch right there, he's going to absolutely get shattered. shatter his bat. Napoli 2 for 8 with a homer in the series. There are his numbers.
That last slider, nobody on the planet would have hit. That thing moved late. It moved down and in, was well out of the zone by the time Napoli took a swing at it. And it was very awkward defensive swing. Ron Barber says nope, he did not go.
2 out, 2 balls, 2 strikes. A lot of deals, a lot of action going on. 4 o'clock tomorrow is Finney. He gone. And fastball at 97. But they pick up a run. It is 2-1 White Sox. Click tonight. Jim Angio, our director and the crew. Well, Mike Leary, Skip Ellison and the crew went with Tyler Flowers. Steve's going with Carlos Sanchez and Mike Mazza, Ken Wiz, Tom Eichstadt, Pete Catazone, Laura Arenas, Mary Weiss, Nick Bristow, and Charles Johnson. There's a strike to Alexei. We're going to go with J.B. Shuck. One to count. There are so many variations of philosophies and theories about how to hit knuckleballers. But again, it's who's throwing it and how hard is he throwing it? You'd rather face somebody who's throwing a hard knuckleball. Wakefield and I were talking about that yesterday. He threw his very slow, and it's a feel pitch. The guys who throw the harder knuckleball have a tendency to hang them, as that pitch had part of the plate. And positioning into plate as Shuck stands in. Knuckleballers, if you'll talk to them, the right-handed ones will tell you they don't like guys standing on top of the plate against them. They don't like it at all. So if you stand on top of the plate, you're more or less taking a sense of control away from them. As there's a strike to Shuck.
Well, Wright will throw his knuckleball anywhere from 69 to 79. We've seen him get the fastball up to 87, so it's not like he doesn't have a decent arm. But 87 and below, you can't live in the major leagues with that unless you're a soft tossing left-hander with a great changeup.
Well, Sparks, when he was pitching, he was the hardest throwing knuckleballer in the league, as that's fouled down. Those guys have a tendency to hang them.
Well, the great Negro brothers, Phil, who's in the Hall of Fame, and Joe, who was a good pitcher in his own right, they threw two completely different knuckleballs. Joe threw it very hard, and Phil just let it dance all over the place. Very slow knuckleball, much like Wakefield, only probably a little bit better.
I faced Phil a lot. I faced him actually before he had the knuckleball, when he was just sinker slider curve, and he was just meat. That's the reason he went to the knuckleball.
That's why he came up with another pitch.
And that's the reason he's in Cooperstown. I asked him, he was our guest on the air one time. I asked him about guys standing on top of the plate. He said he hated right-handed hitters. Count hangs at 1-2. Chris Kamka looked it up. Against Jim Bouton, I stood almost on the plate, and that was one of the reasons I was 10 for 23 against him with a couple of homers.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. But one time he looked in at me at the plate and said, "You better get off the plate." And I just looked at him and smiled and said, I can't say what I said, but so what does that do? That took the sense of control away from him. Ball hit in the left field. Ramirez.
Our ball club has done pretty well against knuckleballers, and we'll show you the two most successful recent knuckleballers, and it's Tim Wakefield. And our Sox beat him 13 times out of 20. His ERA was up close to 5. As you can see, they had 25 home runs in 164 innings. R.A. Dickey just 2-5. ERA over 7. 14 home runs in 48 2/3 innings. So knuckleballers have not created too many difficulties for the Sox lineup down through the years.
I remember Big Frank, the Big Hurt, got Wakefield 3 times in the game here one day.
It's a helpless feeling if that's the only pitch you have, because it's not like you can tighten up your breaking ball or maybe take a little something off. You got a knuckleball, that's pretty much it.
I'll tell you another guy who's a good knuckleball hitter is coaching first base for us right now. Darrell Boston. Greg Walker was a good knuckleball hitter. Former first baseman for the Sox. That's foul.
It's usually guys, it's thought of that guys who have short strokes, not power hitters, would have more success against knuckleballers, but there really is no rhyme, no reason. There's been a lot of great home run hitters hit knuckleballers. Some guys that just hit the ball easily to either side, they have all kinds of problems. So just some guys feel more comfortable against it and can follow it.
Well, Mickey Mantle was a switch hitter, obviously, and against knuckleballers, he hit right-handed against right-handed knuckleballers. Outfield for the most part straight up, spaced about equidistant. High pop up. Bogarts making the call over by the wall and the catch. And that'll do it. A 1-2-3 inning. We go to the bottom of the second. Is 2-1 White Sox.
Sox game day, and you might be the White Sox fan of the game. White Sox fan photo of the game is brought to you by Beggar's Pizza, now with 22 locations. Visit beggarspizza.com. Beggar's Pizza, they lay it on thick.
Here's Castillo. Then Sandoval and Swire.
Red Sox are going to give Castillo every opportunity to prove that he is worth the $72.5 million they gave him. He was in the minor leagues good portion of this year and then called back up, getting his opportunity now.
Castillo was 1 for 4 last night. Well, he's got a live bat. There'll be some reason they give you that kind of money. Oh, baby. Low throw. Nice pick. Yes. Both sides, both ends.
First of all, a great job by Tyler Saladino as he dove to his left. And at third base, you don't have to be fast. All you have to have is first step quickness, and he showed it there. So he was able to knock the ball down and then corral it, not panic, get it over to first base, where the great pick by Abreu made the out. Big effort on this end and a terrific effort on the other end. And Castillo, who's not a burner, thrown out.
There's Pablo, 4 for 10 with a homer in the series. Well, I can say one thing. He joined us in that series with the Cubs. Saladino. Since Tyler Saladino he has joined us, he has changed the personality of this ball club.
Well, he's making every play you have to make.
He's changed the personality. He gone. Two down. It's Blake Swire, switch hitting catcher, just 23 years old. In this series, he's been on the plate 4 times. He's 0 for 4. He takes first pitch strike. That one at 94.
If he had his preference, he would prefer to hit from the left side, but you don't get that luxury against Chris Sale.
Yeah, when you're making all the plays that Tyler has made since he joined this ball club, it will change the personnel.
Makes it a whole lot easier on the pitchers, knowing that anything hit to the left side, especially the way Alexi's been playing now, anything hit to the left side, you're out.
Well, everything's contagious. Ever since, look at how Alexi's played since.
Oh, he's played great.
Saladino's come up.
Absolutely great, and Sanchez has played a wonderful second base. Jose in this series has made a couple of very good plays. So the defense has really come around as the offense has thrived.
That's over the head for a base hit. Hey, there he goes. He gone. And that'll retire the side. Ill advised. Meanwhile, it is still 2-1 Sox.
White Sox are offering specially priced tickets to all female fans, and the first 500 buyers will also receive a complimentary White Sox wine tumbler. To purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com/ladies.
Melky
put one right on the button at second base, and I'm not sure what Swihart was thinking, but he ran right through Arnie Beeler's stop sign and got thrown out by plenty.
Here's Carlos at 236, a couple of homers, 14 knocked in. Takes a high strike. Carlos on a 12-game hitting streak. Hitting .435 during this 12-game hitting streak. One out.
That was probably the best knuckleball that Wright has thrown. And Carlos, unfortunately, was the recipient. Take a look at this one, just diving inside, right around the belt. No spin at all. That's the secret.
Here's Adam. He ripped a single into right field to lead off the ball game. Came around to score on Abreu's 2-run homer into the bullpen in right center.
Playing the table setter to perfection, Adam Eaton over the last 13 games has a .500 on base percentage.
2 down.
Check out the White Sox baseball blog at WGNTV.com, sponsored by Jeff Vukovich, your local nationwide insurance agent serving the area for 37 years. To join the nation, visit jeffvuk.com because Nationwide is on your side.
That's 5 strikeouts for Stephen Wright. Here's Tyler. He struck out his first trip. Tyler.
That time he got a fastball and took it right back up the middle.
And that'll bring up Melky. Melky struck out his first trip. Tagging some other scores. Middle of the 5th in Baltimore, 7-2 Detroit. Detroit's made some couple of moves today. Minnesota leading Seattle 5-2. That game in the top of the 2nd at Target Field. Making plans to be with us tomorrow night, first of 3 against the Yankees.
We already caught a break, and it was Michael Pineda who went on the disabled list. He was supposed to pitch tonight, and instead the guy who was supposed to face us tomorrow, CC Sabathia, is going tonight. So they're going to have to mix and match. They're playing Texas. It's tied at 3 in the top of the second. But CC is going, not throwing particularly well at this point, and then they'll have to figure out who's going to go and start that series over the weekend in Chicago.
So there's the walk to Melky. First walk issued by Wright. And here is Abreu. Abreu now on a 10-game hitting streak. And here's what he did to extend that hitting streak to 10.
So Ford home run replay. He took it the opposite way for the second time in this series. And very dismayed Stephen Wright.
He's already got 6, 10 or more game hitting streaks in his career. Good job by Saladino.
Bogart's coming in to talk with Wright. Probably asking him if he plans to go with any fastballs to Abreu, which would probably be a mistake. Well, he threw one there.
And the count 3-1. That's into right field. Castillo, and that'll retire the side. We go to the bottom of the third, leading 2-1. Jackie Bradley Jr. takes first pitch strike. He gone.
Hey, Sox fans, on Saturday, August 1st, come and see the White Sox take on the Yankees at 6:10. The first 20,000 fans will receive a Scott Posednik World Series moment bobblehead presented by Wintrust Community Bank. Purchase your tickets today by visiting whitesox.com or calling 866-SOX-GAM.
Rocco takes first pitch strike. Struck out, called out on a slider. Guy's got a nice presence about it. Gives you that presence of man.
I'm not sure if he can play every day, but he's an excellent player the way the Red Sox use him, and that's.
He's a grinder. He gives you that presence like a David Eckstein is. He gone.
Six strikeouts for Chris Sale. So he extends one streak. And that is, he has at least 6 strikeouts in each of his last 16 games, which is the longest current streak in the major leagues.
Here's Bogarts. He's 1 for 1 with a stolen base and a run scored.
That was a painful line drive he hit off the leg of Chris Sale.
0-2 the count. Hard high, slow low. Just over the head inside the line. He's going to give it a go. Chuck with the throw. He gone. A beautiful peg by J.B. Shuck. And that'll retire the side. We're into the 4th, leading 2-1. A late challenge.
John Farrell, upon further review, decided to have him take a look at it. Now this is from behind him, and you can't tell when he tags him.
Well, if he tagged him, he's out. If he didn't, if he missed it, he's safe.
And right here, actually looks like he got in there. We'll have to see what they say in New York if there's definitive proof. The call on the field was that he was out at second.
Now Doug Eddings in great position, right on top of it. Also, you have to remember there are 2 cameras that MLB, Major League Baseball, has in every park that we do not have access to, nor do the Red Sox have access to it. And we do not get those angles, but they have 2 cameras in every park. He's out. He gone. So the Red Sox indeed will take the field on a beautiful, beautiful peg. We get one from our left fielder, and we get one from our right fielder, nailing 2 guys at second.
Pretty amazing. They both ended the inning. Great throw by Melky Cabrera ended the second, cutting down Swihart, and an ill-advised move to second base. This one, you can understand this one, because Bogaerts thought he absolutely had it beaten. He just didn't. Sox fans, join us on Sunday, August 2nd at 1:10 as our White Sox take on the New York Yankees. Also, first 5,000 girls ages 12 and under will receive a doll-sized White Sox t-shirt presented by American Girl. For tickets, call 866-SOX-GAME or visit whitesox.com.
So perfect execution on that play by J.B. Shuck. And let's look at it again. Watch it barehanded. That's right out of the textbook. J.B. Shuck has been quite an addition to this ball club.
Doesn't matter where Robin puts him. It doesn't matter if he comes in to pinch hit late or if he starts against assorted right-handers. Doesn't matter where he plays in the outfield, but he's given the ball club just a good solid outing each and every time he gets an opportunity.
Well, he's won us 2 ball games pinch hitting and helped us tie another one up. So here is Adam. Adam 0 for 1. He lined out hard and deep to right field. Quickly 0-2.
Adam stays alive by fouling that one back.
High and wide. As usual, another big crowd, man. They're averaging 36,019. He just missed that one. It's 2 good at bats right there for Adam. And that'll bring up Alexei, who struck out, was called out.
Alexei took a look at Sandoval, decided he would try to lay one down. It's not real easy the bunt to knuckleball. And at the last instant, he pulled the bat back only to take a strike.
Jackie Bradley. Two out, and that'll bring up Shuck. He went out to Hanley Ramirez. Takes first pitch strike. 2-3-0 for us, 1-4-0 for them. If you're just joining us here in the top of the fourth inning.
Swihart has done a whole lot better job receiving him this time. 4 pass balls last time were very difficult for him to deal with. It looks like he's doing what you have to do, just allow that ball to come to you at the last instant. Absorb the baseball. Just don't reach out and try to grab it.
You got a cookie right there and missed it.
That one doesn't do a whole lot. Stayed right there at 71 miles an hour.
Full count to Shuck. You're just tuning in. We had a 51-minute rain delay. There's a bullet base hit. That a boy.
As you can see, the glove is almost like a first baseman's glove. It's a whole lot bigger than the regular catcher's glove and a lot more flexible.
High into center field. Jackie Bradley is going to make all 3 putouts, and that'll retire the side. 3.5 is still 2-1 White Sox.
Fire departments. Join us on Wednesday, August 12th for the Police and Fire Night. The first 10,000 fans receive a White Sox tablet cover presented by UL. For more than a century, UL has been committed to fire safety. Learn more at ul.com/fire. To purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com/PDFD or call 866-SOX-GAME.
Hanley Ramirez, first pitch. Chopper 2 hopper. One pitch, 1 out. Ramirez now 0 for 2. A strikeout on a 98-mile-an-hour fastball and a grounder. So here's Ortiz. He hit a bullet for an RBI single, knocking in Bogarts. Cues this one. And that'll be a base hit. That'll slide right off the end of the bat.
In the not too distant future, Tyler will realize on a play like this where you have really no chance to get the big man, just put the ball in your pocket, because the only thing you can do is get yourself in trouble by throwing it away. And Poppy sniffing a base hit. Gives it all he's got, beats it by 20, and another good pick at first base by Jose Abreu. Saved an extra base. He doesn't get many of those, I don't think.
Smiling at him as he was smiling at Tyler for making him run so hard.
And the rain is starting to fall here at the ballpark.
There was a little bitty front behind it. It looked like it was going to be moving south. Let me see what it looks like here. We're right on the edge. Instead of moving south, it moved north. If we do have a holdup, it won't be for long, or it shouldn't be for long, I should say. Three and one to count. First walk issued by Chris. He has 6 strikeouts. Go along with that 1 walk. Coming in now on the season, he has 176 strikeouts and 25 walks.
Pretty amazing control from a man with amazing stuff. But he's in a jam here.
Castillo was robbed of a base hit on a beautiful play by Tyler Saladino, and a beautiful pick to finish it off by Abreu. One out, 2 on. All right. Can't get him. So 2 out.
Slowly hit ball to third, and Tyler did a perfect job. Carlos got upset at second base, but he got the throw off, which is his job. Absorb the contact, get the throw off. But they couldn't get him at first base, so the inning stays alive with runners at the corners.
Here's Sandoval. He struck out his first trip. Outfield. For the most part, straight up. Bit of a gap out there in left center. So Sandoval. Pablo, a switch hitter, now has gone strictly left-handed. Because if you're going to hit left-handed, being a switch hitter, normally a switch hitter against Chris Sale, you're definitely abandoning the right side.
He had so many struggles from the right side, just 2 lone singles, that he decided he can't do any worse. Apparently, he wasn't hitting anything. Even the outs were not loud outs. So, when you're 2 for 41, you figure there's another option if you're a switch hitter. Second baseman has to be ready. And he has to make sure he doesn't have his front foot planted. You get that foot off the ground and you can take any kind of contact. You'll get upset, but you won't lose a knee. And Carlos did it real well that time as Napoli went in awfully hard. It was a clean slide. Tried to break it up. But he absorbed the contact and got off the throw. He swung and that one hit him on the hand.
All right. So that'll retire the side. And we'll go to the 5th.
Going to X-ray Pablo Sandoval. He swung. And then, out of necessity and pain, he abandoned the play. So eventually called out and out of the inning. Sandoval's not going anyplace.
Carlos takes a knuckleball strike. 2-1 White Sox here in the top of the 5th inning. There's the bunt going foul. And the count 0-2. Chopper takes a nice little bounce for Rutledge, and that's out number 1.
Hey, Sox fans, all season long, you score with Papa John's Pizza. The day after the Sox score 5 or more runs, you can get 50% off your entire online order at papajohns.com with the promo code SOX5. It's at all participating Papa John's locations. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Adam Eaton singled and scored in the first, struck out on the knuckleball and the third. Outfield straight up, spread out, spaced about equidistant. Three and one. Tigers leading Baltimore 9-2, bottom of the 6th at Oriole Park. And there is ball 4. Second walk issued by Wright. Minnesota leading Seattle 6-3, bottom of the 3rd at Target Field.
Our Sox haven't had the opportunity to run yet against Wright, but that usually is what you try to do to knuckleballers. Now Swihart throws pretty well. Doesn't have his strongest arm around, gets rid of it quickly. And Adam trying to get a pretty good lead and see if he can entice Wright to give him his best move at first. That wasn't it. And I'm looking for stolen base number 8.
Washington and Scherzer shut out Miami 1-0 home run by Ryan Zimmerman.
Jonathan Papelbon, the newly acquired Jonathan Papelbon, was able to nail it down.
There he goes. Can't find the ears on it. So he picks up his 8th stolen base.
Things getting a whole lot better in the stolen base department for Adam. He got a very good jump. And Tyler took the pitch. No chance at all as Swihart cannot get a grip on it.
Tyler's 1 for 2, had a sharp single back through the middle in the 3rd inning. Come on, Tyler, pick him up, buddy. He got a good pitch to hit, a high, soft knuckleball, and underneath it. Got him. 2 down. Six strikeouts now for Wright, and that'll bring up Cabrera.
Sometimes the knuckleball does not drop. Sometimes it actually appears to go up. That was the case on that strikeout.
He struck out, called out in the 1st inning. He walked in the 3rd. Oh, and 2 the count.
Yesterday, Stephen Wright sought out some advice on his knuckleball, which hadn't been particularly good. And there's Tim Wakefield standing next to Carl Willis. Tim Wakefield giving him all the advice. He worked out of the pen. He's talking about hand position and how you deliver the baseball. Seems to have worked.
As he gets him. All right, we're halfway home. We lead it 2-1. Bradley and Holt to face Chris Sale. Swire singled into left field. Takes ball one. Up in Canada, Toronto leading Kansas City 5-2. Top of the 8th inning. Donaldson is 25th. Russell Martin his 15th. Two and one to count.
Just barely able to stay alive, and once again raindrops start to fall.
That's a can of corn.
You may remember Chris Sale had little or no spring training, and so when he came out, it was his spring training, his first 5 starts. As you can see, the ERA up close to 6. Only 26 strikeouts and 10 walks, but opponents hitting .309 since. They're hitting .193. 14 starts, 14 walks. So as he started to feel a whole lot better, he became the Chris Sale that we know and love. But without a spring training, you just don't have the arm strength.
That hit him. Didn't want to do that.
Well, unfortunately, with a guy hitting under 120, he just as soon pitched to him, tried to get the fastball in, and got it too far in.
That'll bring up the leadoff hitter. This is second baseman Brock Holt, who is 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts. Off the outside corner. Bradley has yet to attempt a stolen base. They're going to get the lead man. 2 down.
Second inning ended on an assist from Melky Cabrera. The defense has been very good, and for some reason Swihart thought he could beat the arm of Melky. He's out by plenty, and it goes 7-4. And J.B. Shuck, to end the third inning, throws out Bogart. That one went 9-6.
So Brock Holt at first. He has 5 stolen bases in 6 attempts. And here's Bogarts. He is 2 for 2. Starts him off with a changeup.
You don't find many major league players coming from Aruba, but Xander Bogaerts is one of them. And where we have some problems with English, Xander speaks English, Spanish, Dutch, and Papiamento. He is quadrilingual.
Get foul. It won't. Get it back in. So just punches the second single right inside the foul line in right field.
Chris stays away, and it's a pretty good pitch. It's a changeup, and he just flips it into right field. So JB does a nice job playing the carom off the wall and making sure that runners stay at the corners.
There's one play that you do not want to backhand. You want to round that one off down in that corner. So here's Ramirez, a strikeout and a ground out to short. Takes ball 1. And it goes down.
Looks like right off the top of the foot, maybe the instep. No, it's the ankle. And he went down in a hurry and stayed down.
Runners at the corners and 2 out with a 1-1 count to Ramirez. Outfield slightly to the right. Nice gap out there in left center for him. And that is hit hard but foul. Broken bat. So the count 1-2. Once again, making plans to be with us tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. The Yankees come in for a 3-game set.
He hit it off his foot again. This has been a painful at bat for Hanley. Chris got another one and kept it inside, low and in. Moving into him was a slider, and for the second time in the at bat, he fouled it off his ankle. That one off the shin.
I'm not laughing at him. I've been there and done that. From a left-hander, that slider. And the last thing you want to see right now
is another one.
Is another one slide it down and in. That's the last thing you want to see, or a fastball right underneath your hands. That's a fair ball. And this game is tied at 2. Hit by pitch, in essence, comes up and hurts us.
49 runs batted in for Hanley Ramirez, who gets his first hit of the night. Cauliflowers wanted it up. Chris got it there, but Ramirez able to just take it inside the line. So he kind of hobbles into first base after taking 2 balls off his leg.
Here's Ortiz. He's 2 for 2. A hard single, a bullet back in the first inning, knocking in Bogarts, and then he had one squibbed right off the end of the bat. Infield single. A Kansas City special. One and 1 the count to Ortiz. Just a little bit low. 2-1. Base hit. They lead at 3-2. Not hit hard, but he gets the job done.
That's 58 runs batted in for Big Papi. He's got 2 tonight in his 3 for 3 night. That fastball inside Pretty much the same place that he rifled the double back in the first inning. This time a looping single, and that brings Don Cooper out from the bench to talk with Chris Sale. David Ortiz having a big night, and very few left-handers have big nights against Chris Sale. He came in 2 for 10, only to go 3 for 3 with a couple driven in.
Two Kansas City specials, and then the first one in the first inning was a bullet. So here's Napoli. Strikeout and a walk. Takes first pitch strike. Yeah, pitched a little bit high. One and two the count. High pop up right side. Sanchez. But they come up with a pair. We'll go to the sixth. Trailing 3-2.
Subway to 97999 right now for your chance to win 6 meals from the Simple 6 menu from Subway. Message and data rates may apply. Subway, eat fresh.
We trail it 3-2. Top of the sixth. It'll be Abreu, LaRoche, and Alexei. Abreu 1 for 2. That homer is 17th. 2-run shot in the first inning. He also has gone out to right. Count evens at 1. And it's high in the short left field.
Stephen Wright has been very good tonight. In fact, his 7 strikeouts is an all-time high. So he's gotten the fastball over. He surprised a couple of hitters with that. Mostly it's been the knuckleball, which he throws probably 75% of the time. And maybe that little session with Tim Wakefield really helped him tonight, because the knuckleball seems to be dancing, especially when he keeps it about waist high.
Here's Adam. He's had 2 good at bats. He's lined out hard and deep to right field, and he just missed one into right center. Takes ball 1. To another count.
Well, you might not get it, but now look for a fastball. See if you can get one in the zone. You got a fluttering knuckleball.
Outfielder deep, spread out. And a pop-up. 2 down. Gonna bring up Alexei. He struck out and he went out to center. Takes a high strike. And that's a base hit in the hole. Like I say, 13 for 16 in stolen bases.
That knuckleball stayed up, and he took it by Rutledge at third base. You might have missed it. Pablo Sandoval started at third, but he swung the pitch that hit him, and he left the game with a forearm contusion.
So here's Shuck. He's gone out to left, and he is singled sharply into center.
.102 coming up. And that starts the bullpen to working for the Red Sox.
There was a fastball at 81. There's a knuckleball. So 1-2.
It's Robbie Ross loosening in the pen.
Trying to take that one. Nice approach on that pitch by Shuck.
This ball was up and away, and he fouled it off to the left.
Chopper 2, Hopper. Holt. And that'll retire the side. We go to the bottom of the 6th, trailing by 1.
Sox debit card available only at your local Wintrust Community Bank. Go to wintrust.com/White Sox to learn more. Wintrust Bank, member FDIC.
Here's Castillo. Fakes him out, takes the strike from Chris Sale. Boston on top 3-2 here in the bottom of the 6th inning. 2-5-0 for us. Three 8-0 for them. Good save and a souvenir. Another Kansas City special right there.
Well, the big problem is with the few little storms we've had, not enough to stop the ball game, but certainly enough to wet the grass. When you come in and try to make that play, you're trying to deal with a wet baseball. And that's exactly what happened to Chris. He comes on, tries to barehand it, but the wet baseball, he can't get a grip. And it goes as an infield hit.
So here's Rutledge. Josh Rutledge. Pretty good lead. Castillo.
They got Rutledge while we were in town. They traded Shane Victorino to the Angels. And Rutledge was the man they got back.
That hit it.
Second man that Chris has hit. And this puts him in a hole. 2 on, nobody out. Chris has now hit 6 all season long, but unfortunately 2 tonight.
Here's Swihart. He's 1 for 2. He had a sharp single in the left field, and he's gone out to center. Corners and close as he takes first pitch strike. Saladino even with the bagging off the line. Ray, you playing in front a little bit of the bag by the time the pitch is delivered.
Yeah, the Albert is loosening in the bullpen. Chris also has a streak of 15 straight starts with at least 100 pitches thrown, and that's in jeopardy as he's at 86.
Two balls and a strike to the 23-year-old switch hitting catcher. Off the glove, and now they're going to hold him. So that'll be a base hit, and that will load him up with nobody out.
And Don Cooper is coming out now. He wants to accomplish a couple of things. Talk to Chris Sale about a situation with Bradley Jr. coming up, but also allow Albers a few more pitches to loosen up. Lexi at the top of his jump almost comes up with this, able to slow it down so the run doesn't score. But it is the second hit of the night for Swihart. Red Sox really like this young man who was first round compensation pick, the 26th player chosen overall in 2011.
Jackie Bradley Jr. struck out, and then he was hit by a pitch. Shoots that one right over our dugout for a souvenir. Slider strike in the count, 0-2. Hit. It's going to score one, and it's a 4-2 Red Sox lead over Chris Sale.
Only the third run batted in for Bradley Jr., and he's 1 for 2 tonight. So Chris gets his slider belt high, and Bradley able to take it out to center field.
Here's the leadoff hitter, Brock Holt. Couple of strikeouts and hit into a 3-6 fielder's choice. Infield in. Slider strike. Yeah, Chris has got underneath a couple of sliders tonight and it's hurting. Just off the corner. And the count 1-2. Xander Bogaerts was 3 for 3 on deck. And there's a base hit. Another rolling slider. That's going to score a pair. They're breaking it open right here.
Well, Chris is not going to make the 100 pitches tonight. He's going to leave trailing, and that's RBIs 24-25 for Holt. And the tip-off that Chris really didn't have great stuff tonight was the fact that the left-handers and so many great swings at him, and that usually doesn't happen. So as Albers comes in, we'll step out and be back after these messages. 8th time. And he inherits a mess. Chris Sale had a tough night tonight. He will exit surrendering 12 hits in 5+ innings, a rare off night for Chris Sale. And we saw Albers in this series in relief of Johnny Danks. He threw 1 2/3 innings, gave up just 1 hit. It was part of a brilliant performance out of the bullpen by Albers, Duke, Petrichka, and Robertson.
So here's Bogaerts. 3 for 3, a couple of runs scored, also a stolen base. And that's going to get the job done. It is 7-2.
First run batted in tonight by Bogaerts, his 48th of the year. Pretty good pitcher's pitch, yet he was able to loft it far enough.
Yeah, Chris did not have his good slider tonight. Going to block hole, just got underneath it again. Just a roller. So here's Ramirez. He's 1 for 3. Toronto defeats Kansas City 5-2. There's ball 1. Bottom of the 5th in Minnesota. 7-5 Twinkies over Seattle. Later on, Cleveland taking on Oakland at the Coliseum. Baltimore trying to come back. They trailed Detroit 9-7. It's in the bottom of the 7th. At Camden Yards. Guns it over. 2 down.
Here's our Mazda replay, and it's the 2 runs batted in by the Big Poppy against Chris Sale. His double in the 1st inning, his single in the 5th inning. The big man is dribbling 58 on his 3 for 3 night tonight. So the first base open, they're not going to take any chances with it. David Ortiz is only the 3rd left-hand hitter in the career of Chris Sale, who had 3 hits. Nori Aoki and Eric Hosmer were the other 2.
Napoli on deck. Napoli 0 for 2 with a walk. He struck out, walked, and popped up to second. Two on, two out, 4 in here in the bottom of the 6th. Two strikes to Napoli. This Yankee series starting tomorrow night. Make your plans to be with us at the ballpark. If you can't, all 3 of those games will be over Comcast Sportsnet. We're going to run Rodon, Danks, and Samardzija out there against the Bronx Bombers. He gone, but some damage is done. We got some work to do. We scored 2 in the first, 2-run homer by Abreu. If you're just joining us, they added 1 in the first. Bogarts and then field single, stole second, then a double by Ortiz. They added 2 more in the 5th and 4 in the 6th. So Flowers, Sanchez, and back to the top of the order with Adam Eaton here in the 7th. That fastball at 83. That knuckleball at 73 in the count 0-2. Comebacker snabbed.
Add some White Sox fun to your next event. Schedule Southpaw for a birthday party, wedding, festival, school assembly, block party, or more. To have Southpaw visit you, call 312-674-1000 or visit whitesox.com/southpaw.
Here's Sanchez. Carlos has struck out and grounded to third. Got that 12-game hitting streak going for him.
Robbie Ross is out there ready to go, so any trouble at all, Don Farrell's going to go to the pen. As Wright is not used to going this long, but as a knuckleballer, even with a high pitch count, not a lot of stress involved.
Yanks that one foul. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
There's a look at Robbie Ross, and pitch number 112 on the way.
So 8 strikeouts now. 7 was a new career high.
He's getting a lot of mileage out of knuckleballs that stay up. They're not tumbling. They're not like hanging curveballs. They just flutter at the top of the zone.
Adam singled and scored in the first inning, struck out in the third, walked, and picked up a stolen base in the fifth. Base hit. Let's do some 2-out damage here, guys.
That's the 4th time in 7 innings where the Sox have had a base hit with 2 outs. And they've got the right part of the order coming up.
Here's Tyler. He's 1 for 3. Now 1 for 4. 7th inning stretch. Not good. They have a 5-run lead. 7-12-0 for them. 2-6-0 for us. Here's Castillo. Ball's hit hard. It's 8-2.
On our 4th drive of the game, it's the 2nd home run of the year for Rusney Castillo. He now has 7 runs driven in on his 2nd hit of the night.
So here's Rutledge. Been to the plate one time and he was hit. That's high right side. One out. That'll bring up Swire. Blake 2 for 3 with a run scored. So unless we can do some damage in the last 6 outs, this wonderful road trip that we have had will break a 7-game road winning streak. First pitch strike.
And Jennings listening in the pen.
Hit by some chance. Just tuning in and did not hear. We started off this 8-game road trip with 4 in Cleveland. Swept them. Came in here, won the first 3 in this 4-game series. He gone. 2 down.
Tyler wants it inside, and Albers gets it there. Perfect pitch. And strikes him out.
That's high into left field, but the leadoff homer by Castillo, and we now trail it 8-2.
On for the 28th time. Well, opponent's hitting .268, which is a high number. But he does inherit a pretty comfortable 6-run lead. It's an 8-2 game as we head into the top of the 8th.
There's Melky. Melky 0 for 2 with a walk. Takes first pitch strike. Get that knuckleballer out of there.
Plate was awfully tough tonight. He went 7, gave up just 2 runs on only 6 hits. He walked a pair, but he fanned 8.
Chops that one foul. One out.
If you want to know where to find bacon on a stick when you're at U.S. Cellular Field, I know I do. You want to track the red line trains after attending the game? Interested in a seat upgrade? Download MLB.com Ballpark, the official U.S. Cellular Field Ballpark app for iPhone and Android smartphones. Visit whitesox.com/ballpark app to learn more.
Jose with that 2-run homer in the first inning. He's 1 for 3. He extended his hitting streak to 10 games, and he extended his road hitting streak to 14 games. Going to the count. SA Souvenir right side. Just checking. Kansas City, the only team in baseball in the 500s in strikeouts. They have 581. You got a lot of teams in the 800s. You got a couple teams in the 900s. As strikes him out. 2 down. We have almost 200 more strikeouts than Kansas City. Houston with 906. As here's Adam. Adam 0 for 3. He's lined out hard and deep to right. Gone out to center, and he's popped up to short. And Jackie Bradley's going to get him. That didn't take long. 1, 2, 3 inning for Ross, and we're into the bottom of the 8th.
Of those hits, that's a career high. Stephen Wright, the knuckleballer, had a real good night. 7 innings, 2 earned runs, a career high 8 strikeouts. Honda, great deals are happening at the Honda Summer Clearance event Now it's your Honda dealer. And we've got a new pitcher coming in the ball game, and it is Dan Jennings. Up for the 28th time, he's 1-3. His ERA up over 6. And he inherits a game that's been pretty much all Red Sox. They're ahead 8-2.
He's got the top of the order. Holt, Bogarts, Ramirez. Brock Holt. 1 for 4, but it was a big 2-run single. Got a rolling slider. One that Cassell got underneath back in the 6th inning. Hit it hard and hold.
And Butterfield able to just get out of the way of that.
And that's going to be into the souvenir area. Oh, and 2 the count.
Tazawa loosening up with the pen for the Red Sox.
That's low to even the count at 2. Eight 13-0 for them, 2-6-0 for us here in the finale of this 4-game set and the finale of this 8-game road trip. Checking scores for you. Minnesota leading Seattle 8-5. That's in the bottom of the 6th at Target Field. Baltimore edging closer. Detroit had a big lead. It is now 9-8 Tigers. As that is out number 1. Detroit was leading 9-2. Baltimore scored 2 in the 6th, 3 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th. Cleveland scored 3 in the top of the 1st at Oakland. Carrasco on the bump for the Tribe. Yeah, we started off in Cleveland. We beat Bauer. We beat Kluber. We beat Carrasco, and we beat Salazar. That is a job well done. As here is Xander Bogaerts, 3 for 3 with a sacrifice fly and a couple of runs scored. Yankees have taken a 6-5 lead over Texas. That's in the bottom of the 7th down at Arlington. Bottom of the 7th in Milwaukee. Ruku shutting out the Cubs 2-0 and 2 hits. Top of the 8th in Houston, still no scores. They host the Angels. Kazmir on the bump for the Astros. There's the strike. 2-1. Phillies beat the Braves 4-1 at Citizens Bank Ballpark. Washington shuts out Miami 1-0. Ryan Zimmerman a home run for that 1-run. Scherzer 11-8 with a 2.22 the winner. Papelbon picked up his 18th save. 2-2 the count. San Diego beat the Mets 8-7. That was in New York. Cincinnati pounding the Pirates 15-5 after 7 at the Great American Ballpark. Little soft comebacker. 2 down.
Sox fans, you can manage the game along with Robin by logging on to WGNTV.com and click on the WGN Sports Game Zone banner for the latest stats and information. The Sox Game Zone is powered by Robert Morris University, Illinois, offering over 55 athletic teams, more than any other university in the state. For more information on RMU, visit robertmorris.edu.
Rockies were trailing St. Louis 4-1. It is now 8-6 Rockies. That game in the bottom of the 8th inning. So here's Ramirez. Takes first pitch strike. He's 1 for 4, but he's had a tough hit back. Fouling one off his ankle, one off his shin. And the count 0-2 for our guys in the 9th. Ramirez, Shuck, Flowers, Sanchez, and hopefully 5 or 6 others. Josh did get a piece of it, and a piece of Tyler as well.
Bill Miller giving Tyler a chance to walk this one off. Looks like he got him on the inside of the left thigh.
Outfield straight up. Count moves to 1-2. The 31-year-old former shortstop, now outfield. Ramirez 3 for 15 in this series. Yes, he did. Good inning. Carr and Jennings, and we're into the 9th.
Infield hit for David Ortiz. He beats it at first, but like an Olympic sprinter, he raises his hand triumphantly as he does get an infield hit. Takes a little love from the crowd afterward. Not going to see too many of these from Big Papi. Our speed replay is brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Junichi Tazawa comes in the ball game. He's 1-3 his ERA, 2 3/4 on for the 45th time. He and Uehara have been very good out of the bullpen. They haven't had a whole lot of solid work out of the pen this year.
Here's Alexei. Alexei 1 for 3. That ball hit hard. Now make it 2 for 4. And he'll pull up. That's his 20th two-bagger.
Picks on a first ball fastball, even though it was on the outside corner. He's able to drive it into left center field.
So here's Shuck. JB's 1 for 3. Also made a beautiful play, throwing out a base runner at second. Takes first pitch strike. Pick him up. That curveball at 75. Texas has come back to tie the Yankees at 6. It's in the bottom of the 7th down in Texas. Breaking ball high. Softly hit. And they just do get it.
JB hustling down the line, even in a blowout situation, making it very close to first base. Brock Holt with a good play, and he just barely beats him.
So here is Leury Garcia. Hit for Tyler, was 0 for 3. Called up Leury again when Bonifacio pulled his left oblique. Evidently pulled it pretty good. Outfield straight up. He was hitting .296 down to Charlotte. 28 stolen bases. One out, 1-1 to count. Takes that one right there. Just couldn't pull the trigger on it. No, he did not.
Tried to throw a high fastball by him, but the Uri did not go. Appealed to Adrian Johnson, and he said nope.
Two-two pitch. Just off the inside corner, so a full count. Carlos Sanchez on deck. One more chance to extend that hitting streak. And the payoff. 2 down.
He just reached back and threw this one by him.
Here's Carlos 0 for 3 with that 12-game hitting streak on the line. We won the opener here 10-8 with good work from the bullpen. They won game 2 9-4 behind terrific work from Samardzija. And we won 9-2 last night with terrific work from Quintana. Chris just did not have his good slider tonight. Had a pretty good fastball. He had a few of them at 98, a few of them at 97. Threw some spirals with that slider. One and one to count to Carlos. And when that ball comes down, this 7-game winning streak will be snapped as they win it 8-2, and we'll be back.